Your dreams are your laboratory. They are your astral classroom. One of the real simple things that you could do before you go to bed at night is to repeat a question of what it is that you want to receive an answer for as you fall asleep. You repeat that one question over and over and over again. If you want to strengthen this, what you do is you take a candle, anoint it first in olive oil, and put it into a bowl of water and leave that near your bedside where you can see it. And you stare into it, and while you're staring into it, ask the question over and over again while you're falling asleep. And what happens is that you're now programming on the subconscious level what it is that what classroom will say that you're going to enter when you enter into that astral classroom. Now, if you know that the question is even directed at a particular cosmic energy, let's say an Orisha, one trick you can do is to burn a candle of that color and also sprinkle some of the herbs of that cosmic energy in the water inside of the bowl. And just keep staring into it as you're going to sleep. You can even repeat the name. So say if it's Ochosi you want to have a conversation with, as you're sleeping, just keep chanting Ochosi, 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 Ochosi. And repeatedly, if you do this, even night after night, you'll find that you can easily, sometimes even without the chant, go into whatever mode you desire to go into in your astral realm and get whatever answer you desire to get.
You are now in the realm of enlightenment and transformation.
Welcome to Chief Speaks.
All music performed and produced by you.
Enlightenment comes from allowing yourself to journey through the dark shadow of death, the primordial abyss of wisdom's waters. For it is the treasures and mysteries that lie waiting in the dark that transform us and propel us to a new enlightened state. One should never aspire to live in the light nor the dark, but should journey between the two in order to evolve the overall reality into a self-actualized creation. Knowledge is your light, as wisdom is your darkness. The bold interplay of the two in your life leads you to an enlightened understanding of yourself and the universe you've created. Male is your enlightenment, female is your transformation, child is your evolution. Woman, accept the light into your darkness, so it may enlighten you. Man, go bring your light boldly into the darkness, so that it may transform you. Enlightenment and transformation.
I love you so much because you just don't know what you've just done for me. Thank you so much.
Wow. This is like the best call I've had in ages on BTR.
So this show was meant for me to be able to hear today, and I'm so thankful.
That's his home.
Therefore, now a new pathway has now been cut in order to get to the Almighty, where there may not have been one. So the communication with them, if they have enough power and strength to talk to us, the communication will be very clear.
That's one of the reasons I don't get into the current events thing too much, because it starts to become a perpetual alarm clock that we just keep hitting snooze on. I speak to the ascended masters, quote unquote. I talk about spiritual stuff, but I also speak about some very practical, we can do today things.
Be as natural as you can be with your spiritual. You can't always go by your feelings, because your feelings are corrupted. Your feelings are just as corrupted as everything else, your chakras and everything else. You got to know what's beyond you, and that's why we have elders. We can't do everything. You can't get everything out of books or weekend certification. You can have the most powerful, ancient, oldest, most, as far as you know, truthful tradition in your hands. And if you still have a dirty spirit, you're not going to get anything out of it. You're not going to learn anything. You're not actually going to grow. I try to teach in a way where I make myself obsolete. That's always been my goal, to make myself obsolete.
I really wanted to, kind of big you up. I think you're awesome.
There's a lot of elders out here right now that want to know what's going on. They're not getting on Twitter and stuff like that, but they want to be up on the new stuff. Sit down and have some conversations with them. It's not always about hearing their story. It's also about being news reporters for them and letting them know, like, yeah, this is what's happening right now. They may tell you something about what happened in Charleston that you couldn't even. Your spirituality has to create sane spiritual family. Okay, and that family exists first inside of you. You have to express the different expressions of that rainbow coalition of spirits inside of you first. Okay, don't let communities hijack that rainbow. See, the problem is when we come into the conscious community, the dudes are doing the same thing that the women are doing.
I just want to say that I really enjoy your show every Sunday, and my friend and I call it going to church. You know, when we call in, we'll be like, you going to church? You know, and I'm like, where have y'all been at?
God cannot go against its own truth. So anytime you have an inkling that God is going against its own truth, then God is no longer behaving as God. So therefore, the spiritual community doesn't recognize God. You dig where I'm coming from? Or can we have a new thought? Can we step outside of the books for a second and have a new conversation about hair weaves and wigs? You know, can we have a new conversation about homosexuality? Can we have a new conversation about vegan eating? We doing it's a good day for exorcism.
347-945-7680. Call in and let's build.
Greetings and peace, everyone. This is Kim, your co-host of Chief Speaks, and I would like to welcome you all back to another enlightening segment. I will that everyone's strong has been a productive one this far, and this strong we're going to continue with the theme of humility with Chief Yuya. So he'll be continuing the conversation that we were having on humility. We'll get into another aspect of that. So stay tuned. And as usual, we're going to go ahead and get into some announcements. And the reason for this is because we just want to keep all of our listeners informed of how to get in touch with us if they need a reading or spiritual supplies or, you know, just any general information about Anu Nation. So anunation.org, of course, is our main website for the Spiritual Center, the Media Center, and the Self-Help Center. So there you can sign up for the mailing list, and that will keep you abreast of all of the things that are going on with Anu Nation. If we have any new books or videos or courses, it'll be mentioned in the newsletter, or even retreats. So make sure you get signed up for the newsletter. There are also other links to the website there on anunation.org. So for the Spiritual Center, you have seduluhouse.com. And this is the learning ministry of Anu Nation. So this is where you can go to sign up for the Anu Spiritual Training course and the free starter course, which is Orisha, Unlocking Your Inner Power. You'll also find our monthly webinars listed there. And so for March 8th, our next webinar will be on astral projection. So if you're interested in astral projection or any of the other concepts listed on the events tab on seduluhouse.com, you can go ahead and register for those. Next, the Media Center is where you'll find all of the Enlightenment and Transformation shows. So again, for those of you who are students of Anu Nation, those shows are supplemental to the training. And so there are over 400 shows there. The books are not the only resources for the class. So you'll get a lot of information in those shows that'll help you digest some of the things that are covered in the course. And don't forget to subscribe to Enlightenment and Transformation TV on YouTube so that you can go back and listen to all the older shows. The Help Center, the Self-Help Center, is where you'll find Osiris Life monthly services. Okay, so if you need a little bit more personal attention or coaching, that is where you can go to schedule monthly consultations. So, of course, you can sign up for, just a regular reading. Or if you are ready to kind of kick up your development, I guess you can say, and you need, a little bit more help, definitely sign up for the services on osirislife.com. AlphaOmegaStore.com is our online botanica, and this is where you can find all of our products and services. So you'll find a lot of the spiritual supplies that you may need for your ritual there, for your rituals. If you've ever gotten a ritual from any of the shows or the websites that we offer and you can't find some of those supplies, go to alphaomegastore.com. We make sure that we stock all of the items that Chief mentions in his rituals. And some of those are hard to find, so definitely go there. We'll find them for you. And soon we will have some spiritual kits already put together for you. So right now we are developing the site a little bit more and adding some products like the ritual kits. And we'll be back up for business in March. Okay, so just kind of check back. Right now you can browse the store, but you can't actually purchase anything or add anything to the cart. So we'll be back up and running in March. So look out for those kits. And some of those ritual kits will just include, like say for instance, if you wanted to, do a love ritual or something that Chief has given out. And what we'll do is go ahead and just put all of those items together for you with some instructions, so you don't have to kind of go around hunting for those components. We'll already do it for you. So check back in March at alphaomegastore.com. So there you have it. Again, if you're wondering where you can go to get a reading, all of our websites have links to readings. And it would be best if you would go to seduluhouse.com to book your appointment, because there are some instructions there that you need to be mindful of when you sign up for your reading. And it's just easier. So make sure you go to seduluhouse.com to sign up for your reading. But you can go to any of the websites and look under the Contact Us tab, and there should be a link there to book an appointment. Okay, so there you have it. We're going to break for a couple of commercials, and we'll be right back with Chief Yuya and the lesson on humility for the strong. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll be right back.
The Alpha Omega Store is a family-owned and operated premier online store serving as your one-stop shop for all of your spiritual and self-development needs. At the Alpha Omega Store, we offer you hard-to-find spiritual and ritual supplies, books, DVDs, personal development services, monthly specials, international shipping, and more. From spiritual supplies to business products and services, our mission is to provide you with the tools that will put you on your road to success. Purchase your quality products and services today at alphaomegastore.com. Bring yourself to a place of spiritual and holistic balance with exclusive life design services at osirislife.com. At Osiris Life, we offer our members exclusive one-on-one instruction, including 3 monthly service level options to choose from, monthly spiritual consultations, monthly podcasts and videos, custom tailored development plans, spiritual work done on your behalf, life coaching and support, and working solutions with real results. Awaken to your personal greatness and purchase your membership package today at osirislife.com. And now, back to our segment.
Sedulu House Spiritual Center would like to invite you to join our learning community by encouraging you to sign up for our monthly webinars. Our webinars offer live interactive instruction designed to help empower you in your spiritual evolution and ritual work. The webinars we provide are purposed to help you dive deeper into the concepts and calculations of the Chief Jegna of Anu Nation, Haru Yuya Asan Anu, through the decoding and exploration of sound, symbol, ancient and contemporary text, and various other tools used to invoke a state of highest awareness. We are able to abandon the constrictions of dead thought to travel to higher states of awareness, which is our rightful designation. To view our list of webinars, go to seduluhouse.com/events. Topics for 2016 include meditation, spiritual cleansing, astral projection, chakras, crystals, water magic, candle magic, the third eye, animal totems, dreams, and sex magic. Remember, go to seduluhouse.com/events to register.
Peace and welcome everyone to another segment of Chief Speaks on High Frequency Radio, as well as Enlightenment and Transformation. I want to give everyone a hearty and sincere welcome. Those of you who are tuning in from YouTube, those of you who are coming in from the archives, those of you who are tuning in from Blog Talk Radio, or even your iTunes podcast. I know there are many different mediums that a lot of you come in through, but either way, I want to welcome you. And thank you for finding us. And I thank your ancestors, and I thank the spirit guides that are around you for bringing your attention to this experience. My name is Chief Yuya, for those of you who do not know. And I am an instructor for the Sedula House Spiritual Institute and a Jegna for the Anu Nation and the Anu Life Global Ministries. And we've been doing a series all month on humility. Of course, last month we were dealing with success and progress, but this month we're dealing with just the concepts of humility and grounding, and coming to a place where we can find our natural ground, or find our points where we can connect with the rest of the world, understanding that, again, our grounding points or our realizations of humility are the realizations that allow us to connect to our divine awareness. You know, again, just a quick recap. A lot of times when we think of humility, we consider it to be something that brings us into this zone of meekness and conformity and subservience. And though that may be something that is necessary as a part of the process, humility is actually something that brings you to the earth element. And anytime you're dealing with the earth element, you're dealing with aspects of transformation. You're dealing with aspects that bring you to the realization of your true life struggle, you know, what you came here to do, and connecting with the awareness of the all once again, so that you can get that information. Okay, what is my life purpose? Well, let me for a moment disintegrate and dissolve my personality, my identity, my ego, and let me become devoid of that. And when I can become devoid of that, then I can connect to information. But as long as my identity and my personality is the most prominent and the loudest voice that is active in my psyche, then the only thing I will be able to gain information from is my five senses, which are temporal. So humility connects us to a more eternal point, even though it grounds us and connects us to the earth element. So you would think, because it connects us to the earth element, that it would connect us to our humanity. And in some senses it does, but more importantly, what it does is it connects us to the awareness of everything that's around us. Okay, so we're continuing this series, and there's a couple of points that I wanted to bring up. There's a couple of points that I felt were important to make all of the listeners aware of, especially for those of you who are tuning in right now from YouTube. Those of you who are tuning in from YouTube and you have a visual, I think there's something that I wasn't going to speak on, because I tend to use silence a lot as my rebuttals. Okay, so I think silence is a very powerful thing. Sometimes when individuals make certain statements, as opposed to rushing to rebuttal, it's better just to let their statement reverberate in their own ears. You know, there's a colloquial phrase that we often use in urban communities, and that phrase is, do you hear how stupid you sound right now? You know, and that's really just a call to listen to your reverberation, listen to your echo. You know, so there was a funny statement that was said, I'm going to call it funny, okay, by an individual who frequently supports the segments and listens and comments and things like that. And they actually took their comment down. I guess my silence at that moment was a good enough reverberation for them to say, you know, maybe I shouldn't come at it from this direction. And one of the last segments that I did, which was actually the 4 steps of self-sabotage, the statement that was said was, you've changed. This is so corporate. You're sitting here, you're wearing clothes that you wore outside, and you're just sitting in front of a white background. You've changed. You used to wear beautiful African clothes and play beautiful African music, and even you did a segment sitting under a tree, and now you've changed, right? The statement was this segment was boring as hell. Okay, so I'm gonna put all of that under the caption of being a joke that was said, a funny joke. Okay, yeah, and that is a gift to the writer of said comment for me to call it a joke, for me to say, oh, you were just playing, but I wasn't going to bring this up, and I usually don't, when it comes to my movements and things like that, I usually don't make people aware of that. That's the beauty of technology. Sometimes I do shows. I've done shows on the road in the back seat of my car, because again, with technology and the cell phones, you don't know where I'm at. And then I'm able to keep doing what I'm doing. I may be going to do a lecture or do a workshop or doing some spiritual work for someone. Oh, it's 11 a.m. Oh, okay, let me go do Chief Speaks. And then I'll come back and go back to work. This time being no different. Our humility, when it removes the identity group and the assumptions of what a certain identity should be or a certain archetype or persona should be, it opens us up to the real awareness of what is. So for me, it was a humorous comment. I mean, was it disrespectful to speak to a chief, teacher, and community elder in that way? Yeah, it was. But I'll call it a joke, okay? Because the thing is, a lot of times with individuals who you're speaking to online, you really don't know their situation. Like, you don't really know their emotional state, their mental state, their physical state. You don't really know much about them. So to immediately have a reaction is foolish a lot of times on your part, because you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what situation they're going through. So someone may leave a comment on a video, and sometimes people do say disrespectful things, but you have to, as an elder and as a teacher, you got to be patient. You got to pull back for a second and say, well, who's talking here? Who's saying this? And if I don't know, then it's not really worth responding to, really, person may just be having a bad day and they're taking it out on the closest medium next to them, which may be their tablet, computer, or phone. But speaking about, really the concept of these identity groups and how we perceive our ids, how we perceive our identities to be moving through the planet. And for one to say, okay, you're not wearing African clothes and, this and that, and you've gone corporate. Why was it humorous to me? And again, I usually don't share my movements with anyone because I don't like people. That's why I'm not like a Twitter person or anything and say, I'm over here now, I'm over there now. I just have a little trouble with that. And again, that's my age. I'm a little older, so I come from a different generation, and I come from a place where you don't talk a lot, in fact, talking too much was looked down upon in the places that I grew up. You kept your mouth shut, but to break and to share some of the understanding of how sometimes our misconceptions can lead us to a totally different conclusion than what truly is. Imagine where I am now. The Northeast has been hit with because you guys know I'm in the Northeast area, the New York area. It's been hit with snow blizzards and cold fronts and all kind of horrible stuff. My youth called me the other night and said the pipes burst. It's freezing. Do I look like I'm freezing? So, point one. Point two, I am in a place that begins with the letter A and ends with the letter A. And it has 5 letters. And I have been here for a long time now. And again, usually I don't share my movement, so you wouldn't know this. And like I said, it's humorous to me. And on top of that, I am doing the work here that we say we're about. And I am doing that work without a daishiki on, without cowrie shells around my neck, without anything that may represent in the States the egoic or markers and identifiers of one who is quote unquote African invested or African centered. So it was a very funny comment to me. That's just I'll just take it. I took it as a joke because I'm in the space that they were referring to. You know, I gave you the hint earlier, but by now you may have figured out, especially looking at the shores of where our people were taken from. I am here doing community work and working on my NGO and servicing the family over here that needs help as well, while at the same time rushing back in my regular clothes, because it is very hot, in order to service the family over there in the States. So trying to function and work as a bridge of transition for those here and those over there. That's African. In terms of this idea of African clothes, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as African clothes. If you come to this place and call someone an African, they will look at you like you're very ignorant, because people do not identify themselves continentally here. They identify themselves by a traditional heritage. Okay, so someone may say I'm Fanti, someone say I'm Hausa, someone may say I'm Ewe, someone may say I'm Yoruba, you know, there are different Ashanti, there are different identifiers that an individual would use. And within those different identifiers, you may see fabrics and prints and ways of doing things that would identify that person as being part of that group. But those identifiers are not markers of who they are, really. It is their power that marks them. And power is felt. So in this place, as an elder, I'm known to be powerful. Without looking at what I'm wearing or what my watch is or my book bag or what shoes or sneakers I have on, it's the power that's felt. So it's the power that is felt, and that is most important above all. And a lot of that power comes through service of the soil, service of the land, and service of the people, you see. So I thought it was something that I was going to ignore, but I said I thought it was an excellent opportunity, an excellent teaching moment that we could all share with one another. And again, it's no fire or anything to the individual who wrote it. I wasn't like, what? You know, I wasn't upset or anything like that. It was just very funny. It was just very, very funny to me for someone to say, I've changed, and that individual doesn't actually know me. In fact, none of you actually know me. You only experience a reflection on your computer screen that I choose to present to you. So for instance, none of you knew that I was in the homeland all this time. You see, you don't know the movements, and You still don't know what I'm doing. But best believe I'm doing the Anu work. I am here doing the Anu work. And wherever I am, I'm doing the Anu work, which is very African. It's very African. So, you know, just you have to be careful sometimes when we get caught up into an identity. And the one comment I did share was that I have more dimensions and rays than the sun. So I need no box. Meaning, I'm sure many of you could figure out, there's a lot. An African man is a complex man. An African woman is a complex woman. You know, we have so many different dimensions to our character, so many different dimensions to what we express and to our personality that, you know, it's bottomless, it's infinite. It's like Ifa. You know, it's so complex. And that's why in dealing with this concept of the earth or dealing with this concept of humility, I felt it valuable and pertinent to bring this to the forefront and to bring the situation to the forefront. Not the situation, but the comment. And again, sister, because it was a woman, no fire to you. It's not, it's all love. It really is all love. And that's why I laughed. I said, oh, you know, if only she knew. And when you're out here doing the work, like real work, that shit could be a little hot. Okay, so that's why in that particular video, I had a cotton shirt on, which was also hot, you know. So yeah, it's about how you're servicing. It's about the value that you bring to your community, and it's about it's about the legacy that you leave. You know, it has very little to do with what you're wearing. Now, of course, as you start to go through those internal changes, there will be external changes. You may dress different. You will speak differently. You will definitely walk differently. You'll move. Your whole vibration changes up. You know, and that's a part of our growing. That's a part of us connecting back to that humble earth element and being reminded of our rootage, being reminded of where our original assemblage of us as people began. So when you start to come and you get to your place of origin, or you get to your place of source, and you work towards reassembling the fractured pieces of what you were and what you are, then there will be an outward change. That's to be expected. There will be an outward change in appearance. And like I said, your voice will change, your movements will change, your walk will change, maybe even your language will change, because your culture will change. Okay? But culture is a living organism that evolves. You know, it's not stuck in some archaic and antiquated past where one feels most confident and one feels most knowledgeable. So, you know, you have some people, as it pertains to clothing, as it pertains to music even, who would say, oh yeah, back then that was the real music. But that's because that's the music that you understood and you knew all the artists. But now when new artists come out, you don't really get it. So you say, oh, this ain't, you know, we done left our way, we left our tradition. No, it's evolved, and you got stuck. Your last step and stage of learning now becomes your tradition to you. That's foolish, and it's suicidal. Okay, so yeah, I thought that teaching moment was valuable. You know, I thought it was a valuable teaching moment. But let's get to some other stuff. So again, we're dealing with this concept of Onile, right? We're dealing with this concept of, well, today I am, this concept of the earth. I know we haven't addressed Onile in all of these talks, but we're going to take it to the Yoruban piece for a second. And in our Yoruban piece, this concept of Onile represents the earth. Okay, it represents the earth vibration. And of course, I spoke about the earth in other segments dealing with humility. And Onile, a lot of people call Onile an Orisha, which in senses, yeah, Onile, is an Orisha because it's a consciousness. But Onile is the earth itself. You have Aye, you have Onile, right? And Aye, A-Y-A, is the earth's crust. Okay, so that's the surface of the earth. You have Orun, which is what some would call heaven, or the spirit of the sun, is also called. But then you have Aye, which is some people will say earth, but it's not earth. It's the earth's crust. And then Onile represents the entire earth. Now, why is this distinction made? Because like Ifa, which means to scratch or means to mark, what lies on the surface is not always what necessarily lies beneath the surface. Okay, I'm still laughing at the comment that was made. It was very funny. But so what lies on the surface is not always what lies beneath. So what lies on Aye, which is a reflection of what we do with our humanity, is not necessarily what lies at the core and the center of Onile, which is the reflection of what we do with our spirit. Okay, Onile means the spirit of the house or the spirit of the home. So the earth is called the home. Okay, as you can hear in that word, you have Ile, and many of you probably know that by now, right? You know that Ile means house or Ile means home. Okay, some people mistake Ile for family, but that would be closer to Ekbe, you know. But Onile or Ile is the house. So we start to understand that this Orisha concept of Onile, if we're all dealing with this spirit, or we're all dealing with this stream of consciousness, then we all have made an acknowledgement that we live in the same house, right? Or all of us who are attached to this perceptual awareness of what it is that's being taught, all of us who are attached to that perceptual awareness, we certainly can say that we live within the same vibrational plane. Now, yeah, you have different vibrations. Some will, I vibrated to the 5th chakra. I vibrated to the 6th chakra. I vibrated to the 7th dimension. You know, it goes all over the place, right? But we all are vibrating on the earth plane. No matter how much you want to get away from it, we're all vibrating on the earth plane. And that's one of the reasons why it's a very thin and tricky line when you start to gain title through initiation or title through your merit, because some begin to perceive you as no longer vibrating on the same earth plane as them. This is one of the reasons why I don't really use too many of my titles. I have more than one, but what happens is that when people start to hear them or learn them, or maybe learn who gave them to me, or what society or societies gave them to me, they start to perceive me as something other than them. And once that perception happens, when I begin to teach, they'll say, yeah, but that's you. You see, you don't understand, you know? So it makes my teaching harder to actually share and give my titles, all right? So it's not just a thing where, it's not just an act of humility. That's a part of it too, because a title has to be earned, but through your merit, it has to be sustained. So yeah, I do have high initiations. I do have high titles, but I can fall off. Like anyone else, I can fall off. And someone can come along who has none of that, has no title, has nothing, but just has a sincere and dedicated and unconditional love to the teaching, unconditional love to the culture, unconditional love for the people, and seeing the people do well and seeing the people win. And they'll knock me out of position. You see, it happens all the time. People who are stuck in a culture, people who are stuck in an era, get left behind. They get overlooked. They get pushed to the side because they fell off. They lost their wonderment. They lost their youth. They have too much dust on their bodies. You see, and that's because they're staying still, and it's good to hold a post of culture, but you got to understand that nothing that we have in our culture is dead. Nothing is dead. Our egun are not dead. The paraphernalia that we use for ritual are not dead. The water is not dead. The water that you could probably see in this video, for those of you who are watching from YouTube, I don't swim in this water. I don't swim in this water when I'm on this side of it, and I don't swim in it when I'm on the other side of it. Because there are living spirits inside of that water that are disgruntled, who were not laid down into that water properly. Some committed suicide so that they wouldn't have to face what some of us have faced, and the horror and the trauma of what we faced on the other side of that water. They saw it coming. They knew. You see, terms like mother effer. They saw that coming. Someone over there is going to make me sleep with my mother to breathe. You see, I'd rather die. I'd rather throw myself here where we fish and where we catch crabs, you know, and where we process salt. I'd rather be here than be over there. You see, so there's living energy even there. You know, there's living energy all around us. You know, I mean, it sounds like Yoda, but the force is all around, you know. But what I'm saying is that once you understand that everything around you is vibrating and moving, then you get a different respect for what your vibration and your movement is supposed to represent. To kind of come into this place where you're like, I got what I needed, I'm good. Or I read a book and I got understanding, I'm good. Or I just want this one thing. You know, it's like years ago, I was a trainer in a gym, and a lot of women used to come in with this. They would, because you know, you have to do we would do the assessments in the beginning. We would do the body fat percentage, and we measure them and everything. Ask them about their goals. You know, are you looking to be more flexible? Do you need more energy? You're trying to lose weight, trying to gain more muscularity. You know, whole long thing. This is a long time ago. I was much younger, so don't judge me by what you see now. But a lot of women would say the same thing, and I'd have to teach them, like, no. They would say, well, okay. They would touch their stomach, and they say, I want to lose this, but I don't want to lose my behind, you know, or I want to just, they would want to do spot reductions. My legs are kind of fat. I want to lose my legs, but I don't want to lose this, what is that? And I would have to say, listen, you know, they say, well, there's a cream you can rub on your, no, none of that works. It's holistic. Everything grows together. Everything contracts together, you know, so if you don't want to lose your behind, you know, you can gain muscle in it so it stands up like it's supposed to and all of those things, but everything is going to come down together, you know. So it's the same thing with our connection to the earth and our vibrational magnetism that we have to the planet. Can't get off it. I mean, I could jump up in the air right now. I'm coming back down. What goes up comes back down, right? That's not really true, but for parenthetical reasons, for the purposes of this conversation, you know, we're locked into this encasement, into this imprisonment of the earth form. And a lot of times through our initiations or our spiritual work, we don't realize that the goal should not be to separate mind from body, or spirit from body, or spirit from mind. A lot of times in our spiritual work, we strive towards separation. And Onile, when you start to understand the science of that particular vibration of the earth, it's not about separation, but it's about collective complementarity. So one of the great exercises, which is very carnal, which can be very bestial, and which can even remind you of your connection to a physical and corporeal reality, is tantric sex. Now, a lot of you know, for the webinars, we're doing a sexual alchemy or sexual magic webinar at the end of this year, 2016. Definitely sign up for it. You know it's going to be fun. I mean, but yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. You know, I'm sure we'll be a little goofy on that one. But one of the key things with sexual alchemy, as opposed to how many people perceive meditation, is that the act of sex is an act of joining. It's an act of gelling. That's why Oshun is so present in the sexual act. Okay, so when you're doing sexual magic or you're doing sexual alchemy, you're not looking to separate yourself in order to come to a place of awareness. Like, let me separate my mind from my body so that way I can know stuff. You're not looking at it from that perspective. You're looking at it from the perspective, let me join my mind with my body, with my spirit, with my soul. Let me feel the oneness of myself, so that way I can raise my consciousness. And the ecstasy that I feel in that oneness brings enlightenment. Ecstasy brings enlightenment. Okay? So it's the enlightenment that comes through the oneness. So it's the same thing with the earth vibration when we're dealing with Onile. And many of you are probably familiar with the Ogboni society in Nigeria. And Ogboni, they deal with Onile like Onile is the archetypical deity. And I know there are different forms of the Ogboni society. Now, some of them are not as authentic as how they began. And you may say, well, they evolved. Well, some things evolve, some things mutate. Okay, it's a big difference. But that particular society, the Ogboni society, has a relationship with the earth. And that's why a lot of times when people join, they join for wealth reasons. They want to get rich, so they will join that society. And unfortunately, through a lot of the Nollywood over dramatizations of what the Ogboni society is, they paint them as being evil. They paint them as being like devil worshippers, if we want to put it that way. Not that a devil worshiper is not really a big deal, once you understand what the devil is. Just like a God worshiper is not that big a deal once you learn what a God is. Neither one of them is strong as you might think, but in concept, sure. So anyway, getting back to this idea and this spirit of oneness that we receive from Onile, or we receive from our humble acts. Okay, so even as teachers, that's why I say when I saw the comment, I laughed, because I said, if you only knew, but even as teachers, part of our humility or part of our oneness or our acknowledgement and respect of that Onile energy is to join with students, not to join in a place where we have to drop our vibration so low. Sometimes students will beckon that of you, where we have to drop our vibration so low that we become ineffective to our families and ineffective to our other students. But the joining occurs where we let them know that I'm here with you. I'm here right with you. I'm on a road with you, and I am representing what you will be and beyond one day. You see, if you're my student, if you are a real and true student of the Sedulu House, because we have a lot of people who just signed up, they're not students. I can count my students on one hand. Okay, anybody can just go and sign up and get the phase 1. And then some people get phase 1 and fly right through it and don't even do the activities. They don't do any of it right. They completely desecrate it. They completely urinate all over very sacred instruction. Okay, that was developed here on this soil. Believe it or not, you didn't know that though, because I don't have to make everything seem so mystic. A true student has eyes to see and ears to hear. A true student will say, "Nah, this is some stuff here. This is some good stuff. Let me do right by this. Let me treat this right." But as an instructor, my job is to really model the behavior and the character and even the intellect of my highest point. As much as I can share it, all right. As much as I can share it, model that behavior and model that character to let the students know, if you are with me, this is where you will be. So don't worry about what's going on right now. This is where you will be. Okay, so a lot of times, like I have one particular student, I'm gonna just put him out there because he's gonna be coming out soon anyway, with his own segment, Zach. So Zach a lot of times will speak. Good, he's a good young man. He's really striving and he's working towards being a better person and being a better servant to the world. So I gotta give it to him. People who come humbly like that and they really have a heart to help, and they really have a heart to grow and to help their own ancestors, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get the good stuff. But a lot of times when I speak to Zach, I'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" And he'll say, "Oh, I'm keeping my head above water." And I told him, man, stop with that. You know, that's poor people talk. Keeping your head above water. What is that? Good times, you know? Walk on the water. You see? Walk on the water. I did it. And if you're my student, you'll be able to do it if you focus on me. Keep your eyes on me. Don't look down. Keep your eyes on me and just come. Follow my voice. If you follow my voice, you'll be fine. Because I did it. And I'm connected to the same earth that you're on. Now, am I made of something? You see, I keep wiping my nose. Sister Kim says that's how everyone knows I'm really mean, because I sweat at the nose, on my nose. Everybody sweats on their nose, so I'm not mean. I'm the nicest person most of you know. So yeah, when you start to get wrapped up in the faults of your own humanity, and you're not listening to people who have gone further ahead than you, they see you. Like some people, sometimes, you know, you guys call for readings and you'll like be talking. I say, listen, I got it. I already know. I don't have to read the whole book, the whole story. Why? Because I've walked that path. And essentially, as humans, or with the human component, and I've used that word loosely, we're all pretty similar. Now, some of us have more or something or less than something else, but there's a similarity there. You know, so like I said to him all the time, I say, no, walk on the water. Forget that keeping my head above water. That's crap. That's just garbage. That's for people who are looking to survive. You know, live. You don't have to survive, live. If you're able to talk to someone like me, and you're able to take your Sunday and listen to 2 hours or 1 hour of information, you're beyond survival mode. You're now looking to live. You're looking to walk on the water, and to the point that you realize that this isn't even water. These are my thoughts that I formed into water, that I formed into waves, okay, that I formed into triangles, rectangles, and octagons, and different shapes in order to materialize what I know to be as reality, because this is what I needed reality to be. And the reason why I'm unable to walk on the water is because I'm out of harmony with my own creation. You ever have a rough time with your children and just can't seem to get it right? And they just don't want anything to do with you. Out of harmony with your own creation. So that this harmonic vowel, or that this harmonic tone, now creates this situation where you're constantly scrambling for survival mechanisms. Now, why are you constantly scrambling for survival mechanisms? Because when you're in harmony with your environment, the environment feeds off of you and you feed off of the environment. That's how it works. When you're in harmony with the environment, it's a symbiotic nourishing and nurturing that takes place. You see, when you are the disharmonic tone in your environment, the environment will break you down. And in order to avoid, because the environment has to break you down to strip away the disharmonic tones. It's like when we're doing music, those of you who are into music, right, at the engineering level, you know, sometimes somebody may bring you some music, or you're working on a particular instrument, right? Let's say if you're working on a song, I've had this happen a lot of times, and sometimes you want a particular sound, right? You want a particular tone, but that tone just doesn't fit with where the song is going. It just does not work for where the song is going. So what you start doing is you take that tone and you'll start, usually what we do, we cut away frequencies. We'll cut the highs out. We'll cut the lows out, and maybe we'll just leave the mid frequency. Then we'll say, oh, the mid frequency is clashing with the guitar, clashing with the vocals, because vocals are typically in the mid. So then we'll say, okay, I'll scoop the mids, cut the mids out. By the time you're done, there's nothing left. You see? Because that particular element does not belong in that environment. You see, its vibration and its tone has become an offense to the environment, and you may take that one thing out. Sometimes it's your main component. It's your kick drum. It's your snare. You remove it, and now it's, listen to Marvin Gaye, Gotta Give It Up. You'll hear what I'm talking about. Only thing you hear in that song is the bass line. You don't even hear the snare. Because Marvin said, man, all I need is the bass line and the hi-hat, and watch how this song will make people dance for decades. You got to know what you need and what you don't need. And you learn that by absorbing yourself into Onile, absorbing yourself into the oneness of the earth. That's earth magic. That's the elemental value of earth magic. In this particular segment, I was going to give you a bunch of rituals for earth magic. That was actually my original intent. I said, you know what? I think for this show, I'm just going to go through like maybe 10 rituals dealing with earth magic. Just go down the list. But then I said, you know, with a lot of things, if they don't understand the earth and they don't understand the concept behind why we connect with the earth and how we connect with the earth, they're not going to understand these rituals and they're not going to work. I had that happen to me twice last storm. I had that happen to me twice last storm with clients, where I was explaining something to them and they were like, well, what's my Odu? And one of them I had to say, and she understood. The other one was just bonkers. So she can't get readings anymore. If you're listening to this, don't call me again. But I said, don't ask about an Odu right now. You don't even know what an Odu is. Why are you asking about that? Your mind is the gateway. If your mind is not correct, the spiritual wealth that comes from the Odu, that comes from the reading, you're not going to understand. What's it not? Okay, what's it not? Boko, now sweat. Excuse me, sorry. So what comes from that is a sense and an understanding of the mechanisms at work here, so you can have the proper respect for the vibrations that are serving and working with you. So when we work with Onile, or we work with even humbling magic, because that's a form of magic. Humbling is a form of magic. If I said right now, absorb yourself into the grass, lay down on the grass or the sand or the water and completely absorb yourself into it. You have to strip yourself of desire. You have to become devoid of desire of what you want to happen. You have to become that causeless cause. You see, that's a form of magic. But if you don't understand why you would do that with earth, but you wouldn't do that with fire, you know, you're going to absorb yourself into fire. I mean, sometimes you got to go through your trials and tribulations, but you don't necessarily create a bonfire and fall back into it, you know. Though that might be kind of cool. I'll do it first, and then I'll tell you how it went. So the thing is, with the earth magic and the earth elementals, the whole science with that is very similar to the water vibration. Understand that they're both maternal vibrations. It's connectedness. So just like with water, when we're dealing with Yemoja or Yeye Omo Eja, the mother whose children are fishes, why are her mother or fish? The mother whose children are fish. Right? Fishes and shrimps. Why is that the case? Because they're all connected to that same space through vibration. You see, just like the vibration that's occurring right now on the other side of the water is hitting over here. Another reason why I don't get into it, that water's angry. I don't know if you can see it from here. The water's angry. I don't get it. You know, I won't come back out. So it's the connectedness of how we send things to one another, how we send vibrations to one another. And this is always a lesson I have to give women who have delinquent children. They're delinquent because you're delinquent, because you're crazy. That's why your children are bad. They get locked up, they get shot, they're shooting people, you know, they're robbing from people. Where the water goes, the fish follow. Now you might say, what about the father? You know, with the paternal energy, he's a guide and he's a counselor, but he needs the maternal energy to work with it. If the maternal energy is off, nothing will work. The father could be off, and you still got a fighting chance. You'll have your scars, of course. You'll have your scars, but you'll have a fighting chance. But when mama's off, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because where the water goes, the fish follow. They follow the current. So the current of her spiritual flow becomes the current of your pull, of your magnetism. It becomes the current of your desire. The places that we go sometimes in life, and we say, well, why did you do this? Why did you go there? I don't know. I just felt like I should. That's your maternal pull, you see, which is one of the reasons why in this particular region that I'm in, the West, royalty is handed down matrilineal. It's matrilineal. Matrilineally. Okay? So that's how the royal line comes down. It's not like a maternal monarchy, where, okay, my father was chief and now he dies, I become chief. It doesn't work like that. It's the mother. So, it's like a saying that's often said is that, the man gets nothing. So the best thing he can go out and do is marry into royalty, because if he does that, then at least his children, the female children, not the male children, but the female children, will get something. But yeah, it comes through the woman. Why? Because the woman is always going to be the current flow. The man directs. The man certainly directs as he's supposed to. So, he's supposed to direct that current so that the children know which way to go. Sometimes daddy doesn't do that. But you may luck up because grandpa may have, or uncle so-and-so may have given mommy that direction. So that way her current is good. She's got a good flow, good spiritual flow, good financial flow. It's all about the current, you see. So you see that same vibration as with Onile, where it's dealing with how we're moving through things, how we're absorbing ourselves, and how we're becoming receptive to the movement of something. You see, so when you're dealing with the earth, you're receptive to environment, to the harmonic vibratory environment. Okay, that is your connection to the earth. And when you're out of harmony with that environment, you hurt. You see, you're not strong. You get sick. You see, you can't figure out where to go next. And most importantly, you get weak because you have nothing to feed you. So you start trying to destroy the environment. A lot of times you go through these experiments of horticulture to make the environment reflect what it is that you think you need, instead of just leaving or attuning yourself to that environment. There's a book that I'm working on that will be out soon. A while ago, but I redid a lot of it. I didn't like the direction. It didn't feel right. So 14 African Principles, which would probably not be the title, but that's what it's dealing with. And one of the principles I'm referencing is harmony, right? And for those of you who went to the lecture, you remember we went through that. But that harmony is what creates the exchange and the character production and the character cultivation within a community. You see, because when you're in harmony with your environment, when you're in harmony with your community, then your community can bestow upon you title. Community can bestow upon you that harmonic gift of character. You see, when you're out of harmony, well, you don't get that. You get nothing. You get isolation, you get exclusion, and you starve out. You see, so you can either attune, or as my Abba says to me, he says, either you can be or you could be out. That's what my father likes to say sometimes, and he's right. Either be with us or be out. Same instance, man. Same instance. So this force of humility and what we've been speaking about, I can only trust and will that you have a better understanding of why it's so necessary. And even the respect for what has been merited. The respect for the different character and roles that we all play in the community. Like when people are disrespectful to me, I first have to determine if they're a part of my community. If they're not a part of my community, then okay, this is just a disrespectful person who can't see God. If you can see God, you would never disrespect me. So I see God in people, and sometimes I don't. The ones I don't respect them. The ones I do, I say, I give them that. And the only reason I can see God is because I am God. to somebody. It's lots of gods. So you first have to ask that question. If the person is a part of your community and they're showing that kind of disrespect, whether they're disrespecting you as a priest, whether they're disrespecting you as a leader, as a teacher, whatever, then they're out of harmony with the environment. So you have to make the decision. Either you tell them you're going to comply, or be out. You got to get out. And some of you have been on the receiving end of that with me, where you've been exiled from Anu. And I've done that more times than I can count, because once you bring a disharmonic tone into the environment, environments are organic. So what the environment may attempt to do is to attune itself to the disharmony. Now everything is thrown out of whack. One bad apple will spoil the bunch. So when I see that, the stump in the eye, when I see it, I prick it, I get rid of it. I cut the cancer out quickly. And that's, as a chief, I want you guys to understand something. The chief is a father. He's a father. Sometimes people ask me, how many children you have? Hundreds. And not just hundreds metaphorically, hundreds that I speak to and put through school and help them when their pipes burst in their house and send them keys to go stay at my house. And hundreds. You see, that's the humbling that has to occur with a chief or any leader. You become the biggest servant in the room. That's what it is. It's not just about sitting somewhere and say, oh, bring me my tribute, bring me my gin to the shrine. No, you become the biggest servant. But unfortunately, sometimes through that service, when people have disarranged minds, they don't know to give you greater respect because of your service. They then begin, because they see that you've decided to take on the service role, they become very disrespectful. I remember there's times I've done, even saying something like, oh, this show is boring as hell. I got to smile every time I say it, because I don't want to say anything and come off as mean. Not come off as mean, come off as myself. But you don't speak to me like that. Not if you're a part of my community. That's inappropriate. You don't talk to me like that. I did a show before about people getting too comfortable. Don't get too comfortable with me. I'm not any of your friends. I'm not your friend. I'm hardly your brother. Okay? If you're just tuning in and you just listen, okay, then you appreciate the show. You may support the show. You may just be a listener. I'm just some guy on YouTube. If you're a part of Anu, I may say, hey, brother, but I call my son's brother sometimes. I was going over an estimate with my son the other day about something, and I said, brother, can you count? He shorted himself $200. So, but I'm barely that. My title means something, and the humility of it requires me to serve. And your humility and reference to it should require you to respect that service and return it. And that's how the community feeds from each other and becomes self-sustaining. But if you come in just to take and then add insult to that, not only is it unwise, because despite all of the jokes and all of the funny shows, spiritually, I'll F you up. Yeah. So be respectful. Be respectful. See how calm the water got? It needed me to say that. I wasn't going to say it, but you should know it anyway by looking in my eyes or hearing my voice, that I'm really not one to be disrespected like that. So there will be a lot of changes coming forth, and I knew in that regards, because I got to teach you all protocol, because you're becoming weak, because you're out of harmony with the environment because of your lack of protocol. And I don't want weak people around me. I don't want anything weak around me. I break it off, I burn it, and I reappropriate it for another purpose. All right. So that has been our Chief Speak segment for this Sunday. And I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And for those of you who are peaceful and about the progress and about respecting this earth and respecting Onile, which is all of our house, you see, all of our house, then I give you a warrior's embrace and a drum salute sent straight to you from this side to that side. And if you're listening from this side too, peace to you. You know, we got a lot of people on this side of it too. And I'm a bridge. So I'm here, I'm there, I'm there, I'm there, I'm all over the place. But most importantly, I'm Anu. I'm Anu. I had to correct an elder in that recently. You know, he said, you go to this country, you go to that country, that country, that country. Because I've been all over this land. And he said, what is it that you're trying to be? I said, I'm trying to be anything, man. In Africa. I own all of this. You know, and I'm what existed even before that. I knew. So I go wherever I feel like. And I will plant flags wherever I want. Baba. You know. So yeah. So it's important for us to start coming together as a community. Those who have the heart for it. Those of you who don't, you know, just listen to the shows, get what you need out of it, and maybe you can help your families or your co-workers, whatever. That's cool too. You know, for the world to be a better place, we got to share more. We got to share. You know, it's not about hoarding information because you're not with me. I'm not into that, because there are spirits from other traditions, from languages I don't even speak, that gave me insight, gave me awareness, and never said, oh, you got to initiate now over here. You got to become this. You got to, no. They just gave. So we have to do that. And in doing that, we mimic the movements of the high deities, the high manifesting and evolutionary deities. And we become then them and beyond. Just like your teachers, mimic your teacher. I told you guys that before. I always say that to my students. When in doubt, just copy me. If you don't know what to do, just copy me until you get your own style. You know, so it's the same thing with this. Copy those Orisha until you get your own groove and go beyond and take them with you. Copy me, get your own groove, and then come back for Baba. Come back for Chief Yuya. All right, Chief, we got something happening over here, and I know you was trying to do this, what I knew, and that, but you could maybe some of the things that you couldn't get happening. Some things just didn't work, but you know, we made it work. All right, well, set up a rocking chair somewhere for me. Bring me along. You know, let me tell stories to the children. You know, but that's how we stay connected to the cycle of Onile. And we service one another, and we make sure we maintain harmony within our environment through respect and through reciprocity. All right, this has been Chief Speaks. Thank you so much, and I will see you all very soon.
Your dreams are your laboratory. They are your astral classroom. One of the real simple things that you could do before you go to bed at night is to repeat a question of what it is that you want to receive an answer for as you fall asleep. You repeat that one question over and over and over again. If you want to strengthen this, what you do is you take a candle, anoint it first in olive oil, and put it into a bowl of water and leave that near your bedside where you can see it. And you stare into it, and while you're staring into it, ask the question over and over again while you're falling asleep. And what happens is that you're now programming on the subconscious level what it is that what classroom we'll say that you're going to enter when you enter into that astral classroom. Now, if you know that the question is even directed at a particular cosmic energy, let's say an Orisha, one trick you can do is to burn a candle of that color and also sprinkle some of the herbs of that cosmic energy in the water inside of the bowl. And just keep staring into it as you're going to sleep. You can even repeat the name. So say if it's Ochosi you want to have a conversation with, as you're sleeping, just keep chanting Ochosi, 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 Ochosi. And repeatedly, if you do this, you know, even night after night, you'll find that you can easily, sometimes even without the chant, go into whatever mode you desire to go into. in your astral realm and get whatever answer you desire to get.